Hello and welcome. Today we are in the Grandstand with a W Series driver and a WEC driver for this year, Beitske Visser.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, so Beitske, we want to go through your career right now and what you're doing this year, but first we want to go through what you did in your early years when you first got into karting. I understand you were karting through your family and traveling with them in those early years of yours. Is that something that made you closer as a family?
Yeah, so my parents used to have a car dealership, so I was always around cars, and my dad used to do a little bit of racing just in Holland. So yeah, I pretty much just grew up around cars, and yeah, when I was 3 years old, I went to a go-kart race with him, and I saw a little baby kart there. And since then, I was begging my parents to get me one of those. And yeah, on my 5th birthday, I got it. So yeah, that's when I started driving.
So was there any other career choice or was it always going to be driving for you?
Yeah, I think I first got like a quad when I was 2 years old. So I was always had like these little step bikes, step cars that I drove around the workshop of my parents. So yeah, it pretty much grew up around cars.
And is home Sneek, is that where you live?
Yes, it's called Sneek.
Snake, sorry, my pronunciation's dreadful. Well, in my research, I saw that Nick de Vries of Formula 2 fame and now Formula E, he's also from Snake. So with the two of you, there must be something in the water. What was it? Is there a really good go-karting track there or something?
Actually, there's no go-karting track around here anywhere. I think we just went out of the country pretty soon because Holland is a pretty small country. So yeah, I think Dutch drivers are just used from a young age to go to Germany, go to Belgium, go to Italy, and race everywhere.
On the electric side, we've heard today, when we're filming this in January, that Jensen Button is introducing an Extreme E team. Is that something you've considered? You've got your Formula E background. Is going off-road something that you'd like to do?
I haven't really looked at it. I have never driven off-road, so yeah, I'm not sure about that, but it looks cool. Would be cool to try it once, but yeah, for the moment I have quite a busy program.
I mean, I was watched the whole of the W Series 2019. Amazing season. Really enjoyed watching it. And obviously, your title fight with Jamie was the headline story of the season. So, how was it from your side? You know, how did you feel the season went? And were there any sort of key moments that you felt tipped the championship to her and away from yourself?
Yeah, for me, it's been a really cool year. I was away from formulas for a bit, so it was cool to get back into it. Yeah, and just the fight with Jamie, but also with others was cool throughout the year. Unfortunately, Jamie just won it, but yeah, hopefully next year I can improve a bit.
Yeah, I mean, because you were sort of pretty much with her all the way through, but when we spoke to Emma Kimmel, and she mentioned that she felt like Jamie, because she'd been doing F3 racing like right up to the start of the W Series season, she felt like Jamie had that sort of slight edge over the rest of you. But then, obviously, as it got later into the year, you all sort of came up to that level. So, do you feel like that was probably the sort of key element for her winning?
I'm not sure. I mean, you never know what would have happened. I don't think about that, but I think going into this year, I'm better prepared because I've been driving LMP2 last year. I'll be driving LMP2 this year, so that car is very similar, and just every year I improve myself as well. So yeah, I hope I can start it off good right from the beginning, and then fight till the end.
And you pulled one of the best moves of the season was your pass on Jamie at Brands Hatch. You were taking a bit of grass when you did that. Was that a bit of squeaky bum time for yourself when you were in the car doing that, or was it just easy to do?
Well, I knew if I wanted a chance at winning the championship, I had to pass her, and I knew I had nothing to lose. I mean, second place in the championship was safe. So I saw her made a small mistake, and I just went for it, and yeah, it paid off.
So was it look more breathtaking on TV than it felt in the car then, maybe?
Well, in the car, obviously, when I went in the grass, and when you see that massive board, I thought it was going to hit it, but I was like, well, as long as I have my steering wheel straight, I can keep it flat. So yeah, that's what it is.
That's something I actually wanted to ask, Beitske, that you spent a lot of time behind Jamie in the series, in W Series 2019, behind her at Assen, behind her at Misano. And speaking of that Assen race, it was great because there were two races, and one of them was the reverse grid race, no championship points, but it was reversed in order of the championship standings. And for us watching, it was phenomenal from start to finish. Is that something that you'd like to have back in 2021, a reverse grid race?
It was very stressful for me. I prefer to just start up front and drive away.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Again, with something we saw, at least on TV, it appeared that you guys in the W Series paddock got on particularly well. Is that something that I'm maybe misinterpreting? But it was a teamless environment. I remember you and Jamie, your championship rival in the final round, going around on a go-kart as a bit of a promo thing, but you genuinely do look to get on with each other. Is it something that's just so different in a teamless environment? Is it something you found difficult to get used to, something that you like?
Well, I think it's because the whole team environment is different, and we can all separate on track and off track pretty well. And like if you race in any other championship, it's if someone else from another team is faster, you can say, oh, they have a better setup on the car. Now we all have the same setup. We can all see each other's data, each other onboard video. So if you're slower, it's just you. So you have pretty much no excuses until you have unless you have like a technical error or something. So I think that makes us respect each other a bit more because yeah, you have less excuses.
Now, Gareth, I know you've got a couple of esports questions. I'll just take over with some of those.
Yeah, I watched the whole of the season, and you were phenomenal from the start. You know, leading the way, and you're pretty dominant for the first half of the season before Marta caught up with you. I remember they said on the commentary that you were actually helping the rest of the field with the setups. Was that were you using your own setups, or were you using like one of the iRacing specialists like VRS or someone like that?
Yeah, so we wanted to have fixed setup for all the races. So I literally just downloaded some setups and made sure everyone had the same.
The Esports League went to some legendary tracks, and I just wondered if there are any of those that are on your bucket list for this is a track I really want to visit in the real world. The ones I did some research, and you're going to COTA this year, obviously the circuit of the Americas, but apart from that, Brazil, Watkins Glen, Suzuka and Bathurst, I think they're the only four that you haven't actually been to. And so which ones do you like the most, and which ones are you not that keen on?
All of them. I like all of them. I always like to go to new tracks, and yeah, actually on iRacing I seemed quite good around those tracks as well. So yeah, luckily we're going to COTA this year, but yeah, I would love to try out the other tracks as well.
Sticking slightly on the iRacing side, like every time I've driven the Formula Renault 3.5 in a simulator, I've always been blown away just how fast that car is. How's the real thing to drive? Because you did 3 seasons in Formula Renault 3.5. Is that the quickest car you've driven, or is it close to the Alpine LMP2 that you're driving now as well?
It's definitely the quickest and the best car I've driven so far. Yeah, it's pretty much like a Formula 2 car. It has the same pace. It has a lot of downforce and yeah, a lot of power. So it's just really cool to drive.
I bet, yeah. And does the LMP2 come close to that at all, or is that because I mean those things have a huge amount of downforce and grip these days?
Yeah, I mean it pretty much has the same engine, so yeah, it's almost the same pace as a 3.5. This year they're gonna be a bit slower because some rule changes, but yeah, it's definitely super cool car to drive, and it's like a Formula car as well. It has a lot of downforce. Yeah, it's a Formula car with a roof on it.
Now, this year, huge year for you. You've got WEC for the entire season, and you've got W Series for their entire season. Busy year. So what is it that's going to make that a successful year from you?
I mean, it's always racing. You never know what happens. But yeah, I just want to improve myself and continue from where I finished last year. And yeah, I hope that one plays better in W Series. And yeah, for WEC, we have no idea. We did ELMS last year, but now we're actually can prepare. Now I'm actually going to have some test days before the season, so that should make it a bit easier. And yeah, the WEC field seems very strong, but I just hope we can continue where we finished last year and just keep improving throughout the year and get some good results.
Formula One, W Series, big news. You're supporting Formula One for 8 races this season. Now, we saw it on Twitter when this was announced. How was it that you found it? Was it the same as us? You just opened Twitter and thinking, wow, this is big news, or did you find out another way?
Well, we knew a couple days before, and we obviously knew that they were in talks about it, so I was already hoping for it, yeah.
And how was your reaction when you found out? Were you jumping around the room, or were you thinking, wow, I need to knuckle down and get into the sim?
The second one.
Always working, Beitske, always working. Now, I looked at the calendars, and I think you've got WEC at Monza on the same weekend. The W Series is at Silverstone. Now, W Series are racing on Saturdays. Is that something you can work around, or do you need to sacrifice one of those races to race in the other?
No, unfortunately, I have to sacrifice Monza. But that looks to be the only clash, so I just have to miss one race.
You went to Assen in 2019 as a home race. You got Zandvoort this year as a home race. So, spot question, which of those two is the best track?
That's hard.
That's the hardest question. I don't know. I like them both. I think they're very different tracks, because Zandvoort is a lot of up and down, and well, they're both high speed, but Assen is more flat, but it's more a motorbike track, so you can use the curbs more, and yeah, they just both have very different corners. I don't know if there's one corner which is similar at both tracks, so yeah, I like them both.
Gareth mentioned also that we'd spoken with Emma Kimmel recently, and she mentioned that there's an existence of a W Series group chat that at the moment you're talking about helmet designs and so on, but she also mentioned that you send memes back and forth. So who is it, as a little spot question, that sends the best memes in the group?
Probably the British drivers.
You don't fancy getting on some of those reaction GIF memes yourself?
I enjoy it, but I'm not someone that looks those things up.
Now, well, Beitske, really good luck for both your W Series campaign and, of course, WEC. Not something that we usually cover, but we're going to be looking out for you. So thank you so much for coming to join and speak to us in the Grandstand.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully we can maybe have another chat to you later in the season, maybe in the mid-season break, and see how your season's going.
That sounds good to me.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Beitske, and we will see you in the Grandstand next time.
See you.